How long did you think the Democrat Party was going to solely depend on the vote of the black female? You got to thank the black feminists for this, because it was them who decided to put their gender before their race in the 60s and 70s. And they really and truly believed that politically they could go forward and forge ahead without black men. And you see where it has gotten them. Now the Democrat Party does not need them. They're going to kick these black feminists, these black chicks to the side, and watch how these black chicks run back to black guys talking about, let's bounce back, let's make babies, let's reproduce. It's too late, bitch. You wasted 50 years putting your gender before your race, pushing this toxic masculinity, black girl magic. Fine, you got what you wanted, and now look at the situation. Politically, you're obsolete. Think all the abortions you had from 1970, 20 million black abortions since 1970. There's 1,800, almost 2,000 black abortions a day. The black feminists have got what they wanted since 1970. You got the sexual liberation movement, and now you're being displaced. And the logical black dudes who saw this unfold, they are not going to feel one ounce of sympathy for you, delusional broads, because you dug your own grave by putting your gender before your race and thinking that you could do this shit without the decent, productive black man. Let's hop into this article. In the next presidential election, 32 million Hispanics will be eligible to vote, just slightly more than the 30 million voters who are black. Yeah, man, this just goes to show you the drastic decline, not only in black political power, but in the black family structure. Once the Democrat Party, they weren't able to pull the Hispanic woman away from, or divide the Hispanic woman from her man like they were able to divide the black woman from her man. But see, the black woman had made it clear to the Democrats and non-black folks that they were willing to compromise the black family. They made it known to those non-black Democrats they were willing to compromise the black family. And that's why the Democrats were able to do it. But no, not the Asian woman and not the Hispanic woman. They did not allow the Democrat Party to separate them from their men. And now you're going to see black women suffer a big consequence for this. And I'm going to sit back and I'm going to call this out whenever you see them complain, or whenever I hear them complain. I'm going to remind them of this. Let's hop back into this. Destiny Martinez, 18, votes for the first time at the Power California early voting event and festival for students of the Los Angeles Unified School District on October 24th, 2018 in Norwalk. She said she liked the enthusiasm surrounding the day. And look, I'm not mad at these Hispanics for doing this, because this is what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to come, compete, grow their family, and live a decent, productive life. This is what they're supposed to do. All right? They held on to their family values, their tradition. All right? They didn't allow themselves to be manipulated and pulled away from their men like the American black woman has. And the history books are going to show this. Your grandkids are going to see this shit. Your great-grandkids are going to see the numbers. They're going to see what transpired from the 60s up until the 70s. They're going to see what happened after the sexual liberation movement and how these black bitches were just out here having sex recklessly with all types of losers, not even concerned about the type of father they picked for their kid. Let's hop and finish the rest of this. For the first time, Hispanics are on track to be the largest racial or ethnic group to be eligible to vote in a presidential election, according to data on the 2020 electric released Wednesday by the Pew Research Center. Two big shifts we are projecting for the 2020 electorate: more Hispanic than black eligible voters. baby boomers and older generations to account for fewer than 4 in 10 eligible voters versus nearly 7 in 10, 2000. And look, I'm going to tell you something else. The voting bloc that the Democrats were depending on as far as black, they were depending on the black female voting bloc plus the black female baby boomer voting bloc. Now that the black female baby boomer voting bloc is dying out, Generation X black women are not voting like the baby boomer black women. And millennial black women are not voting like the baby boomer black women. So you're going to see a drastic decline in black voting participation once the black female baby boomers pass off. And now the Democrat parties are going to be moving jet speed fast to get the votes of these Hispanics. And they saw the writing on the wall. They know that once the female boomers die, the black female baby boomers die out, they know that that's their main voting bloc. And that voting bloc is not going to be there. And they can't depend on Gen Xer black chicks to vote. And they can't depend on Gen X millennial black chicks to vote. So they're going to make a quick beeline right to the Hispanic voting bloc. And this was self-inflicted. These same black chicks, they thought after the 70s they could put their gender before their race. And that's why you got to go to the right politically of these black feminists. If you're a black dude and you're a logical thinking black dude, you got to go politically to the right. That's how you throw these black feminists off. If you don't, you're just going to end up in the same hole they are in. There was a reason why the Democrats told you to put your gender before your race. And they wanted you to do that because they knew it was going to weaken black women. And this was a 30-year strategy. 30-year strategy. And these black chicks went ahead and did it. It's also a reason why the Hispanic, Asian, and white women used black women as the poster child for abortion over a 40-year time period. And the reason for that was because so the Hispanic population could catch up to the black population, then kick these delusional black broads to the side. And that's what they've done. See, these black bitches, they thought they were going to stick it to black men and show black men how independent they are. They were going to stick it to the black man and go out there and do it on their own. They really thought that shit, but they were being used. They were being used. The Democrats and the Republicans, they knew that black Americans were stronger together than divided. And they had to get these delusional black broads to start making up these arguments for feminism is needed in the black community and blah, blah, blah. And these broads fell for it. Now, here we are 40 years later. These delusional broads can't find a man to take them serious outside of sex. All right, these broads can't even fucking find a good secretary job that's not demanding bilingual education. These bitches have really dug themselves in a hole. And they really thought that people were going to be like, all right, since you showed me that you're not only a traitor, but you're treacherous against your own men, I'm going to take you serious. People that see that you're treacherous, first off, no man likes a traitor. I don't care what color the fucking man is. It's like a football team. If you're a traitor on any kind of sport, matter of fact, once somebody knows that you are for the other team and you're talking shit about your own team, or you come over and give you give the playbook of another team or some shit like that, that's the worst you could be as a fucking person, is a traitor to a man. So just because you think politically as a female that you were going to be able to do this, the rest of the world saw that you were quick not only to be a traitor to your own men, but to fucking compromise your entire fucking population. So what makes you think any any person of any race will trust you after you've shown that you would compromise the integrity of the men that you claim you need protection, that you need to protect you. Let's finish. By 2020, 32 million Hispanics will be eligible to vote, just slightly more than the 30 million voters who are black. For Asians, the population is expected to be about 11 million, more than double what it was in 2000. So they managed to double. The Asians are growing faster than the black population. And see, the reason for this is because, see, after the sexual liberation movement, casual, reckless hookup sex became the call of the day. And when you look at the abortion numbers, and don't forget, there's more Hispanic single mothers in America than black. There's more white single mothers in America than black. So don't give me this excuse how the black single mothers are struggling. That's bullshit. When you look at the abortion stats, you will see that these black women are having casual, reckless sex and then using abortion as birth control, while these other groups of women are actually having sex to have families and create families. And on top of that, those women are actually seeking out good, decent fathers for their children. So the reason why black Americans are falling behind, in particular these other groups, is first and foremost because the sex that's taking place is meaningless sex. It's not based on family and expanding. These other groups, when they're having sex based on family and expanding. And this is how the sexual liberation movement has fucking destroyed and crippled black America. Because you can, like I said, look at the abortion numbers and just say to yourself, all right, it's obvious these women that are having abortions, they're not in long-term relationships, stable relationships, and she's getting pregnant and then having the abortion. No, these women are just going out to a club, going out, just having sex randomly, not even, and what's so crazy is a lot of these bitches are not even anticipating on having sex. They just go out, come across a dude they like, and bam, she gets pregnant, and it was just a casual fling, and she just goes have an abortion. So these black chicks are not out seeking family, stable, long-term relationships. Most of these black chicks that are getting pregnant and having sex are just doing it for the feeling, for the just the thrill of it and shit like that. It's not based on family. That's why you see this decline. And also, you can tell by the type of fathers they're picking. And when these black chicks do get pregnant and do have a kid, it's usually her and the kid. It's not a nuclear family. Whereas these other racial groups, you see the nuclear family. And they have a culture behind them they can fucking stand on if the father isn't there. Like I said, there's more Hispanic mothers, single mothers, than black single mothers. So even if the father isn't there, they have a strong enough culture to where that culture can substitute and pick up the slack. Let me get my cigar going and pick up the slack. So I'm just saying this shit because I know when we fast forward 50 years from now, all these questions are going to be asked. And I want to have this shit laid out. And nobody can blame me because you see how a lot of us millennials are, and rightfully so, got criticism for the baby boomers. Fine. Now the question is, when we as millennials turn 60 like the baby boomers are now, you don't want the youngsters asking us what were we doing or why didn't we push back or speak out against this shit. When they come at me, the youngsters, I'm going to tell them when I'm 60. War Stories got countless videos and audio speaking out against the black feminist agenda and how it was going to cripple black America. This is the kind of shit you're going to have to look back at it and see. They're going to realize that, black Americans, we had a good chance in most of these major cities, but we blew it because of lack of solid family values. And we just believe in this culture of, anything goes. Anything goes. Let's get further into this shit, man. According to Pew, Hispanics are projected to be about 13.3% of the electorate in 2020, which would make them the largest racial or ethnic minority of the electorate for the first time. Yep. So first they surpassed black Americans as the biggest minority group in America. And now they've surpassed black Americans as the largest racial minority electorate group for the first time in America. So you can see the backwards decline. You can see it right before your eyes. And it's unfortunate, but what the fuck can you say? What can you do? We rather spend our time arguing and fighting with African immigrants and shit like that. That's what we want to do. Even though African immigrants aren't the one forcing you out of New York, ain't forcing you out of DC, ain't forcing you out of New Jersey. African immigrants ain't competing with you at your jobs in fucking Baltimore, fucking Detroit. But here we are on these fucking hangouts and panels arguing and fighting with Africans when it's the undocumented aliens illegally coming here, displacing your kids in school. All right, it ain't the African immigrant who came here illegally. Yeah, there's differences. Yeah, there's differences. Yeah, we're different. We're ADOS and they're not. All right, that's been confirmed. That's been established. What's the fucking next move? We're spending more time criticizing and fighting with Africans than we are talking about reparations, outlining the blueprint for reparations. Nobody's talking about finding out which companies took part in slavery, which insurance companies took part in slavery. No. We want to spend time fucking around arguing with Africans. Meanwhile, you got black neighborhoods being flooded with undocumented aliens who aren't even supposed to be here. And the Africans came here fucking legally. That's the shit that I don't understand. That's what I don't understand. Voters who are of Asian descent are projected to be about 4.7% of the electorate. White voters will continue to make up the largest share of the electorate, 66.7%. But the Latino and Asian growth mean that in 2020, about a third of the eligible voters will be non-white. See how they put the Asian and Latino, they're excluding the black American population. And it's all because this delusional black stupid bitch thought that she could do it all by herself from the 1960s up until she thought she could do it and she was going to outshine. And bitch, now look at your dumb ass. They're going to kick your ass to the side and watch. This broad, she's going to try to run back and try to be like, oh yes, unity, let's unite, make more babies and bounce back. Bitch, it's too late. You already showed them that you were willing to compromise the race of your own fucking men. You already showed them that you don't have the best interest of the black family. It's too late. They know that you're willing to fucking do their dirty bidding, and you did it for 40 years. White voter. All right, I finished that. Immigration is playing a role, although it is a small one. 1 in 10 eligible voters will be foreign-born in 2020, the highest share since 1970. Yeah, man, this is how it's going to go down. The number of Latinos who don't vote, in fact, has been greater than the number who do. Hold on. The share that is eligible to vote does not necessarily transfer to turnout. In recent elections, black voters were substantially more likely than Hispanics to vote, Pew stated. I mean, look, they're just trying to fucking throw a bone to these delusional black feminists. It's a wrap. You tried to use the black girl magic scheme and strategy to keep the Democrats in power for 40 years. It worked for 40 years, but the Democrats see the writing on the wall. They see that the black population, the black American population, is not going to carry them into the future as far as elections go. The black American woman is not having families and not having babies, okay? If anything, as a matter of fact, if it wasn't for the African immigrants giving birth here, the black population would be fucking on a decline. And also, the reason why the black population isn't totally in the toilet also is because the African immigrant and the government is counting mulattoes every year as black. So that's why the black population is stagnant in America, because the African immigrants are having babies and the government is counting the mulattoes as black. If the African immigrants weren't having babies and the mulattoes weren't counted as black, the black ADOS population would have been on the decline, been in the toilet. Why? Because, like I said, almost 2,000 black abortions a day. 20 million black abortions since 1970. And after the sexual liberation movement in the 60s and 70s, the concept of black family has been destroyed. And if you look at the type of fathers these black women have been picking for their children for the past 40 years, you can also see why there's been a drop in the black IQ or black intelligence level. So look, this has all been self-inflicted. I'm being real with you, dude. This is all self-inflicted. And it's going to take a black person who has not contributed to any of this shit to speak the truth on it. Now, if you're one of these motherfuckers out here that contributed to this shit, you're going to fucking stay in denial. And I'm going to be the one to fucking just keep telling the fucking truth. Let me see. Nearly a quarter, 23% of the electorate will be 65 and older, the highest share since the baby boomer. The millennial share of the electorate is increasing because of foreign-born millennials who are naturalizing to become citizens, but they will account for a slightly smaller share of the electorate than in 2016. Hey, man. See, as black Americans, we don't want to look at this as a competition. This is a competition. It's not like you're the only race in this country and you can just sit here and just stay stagnant and not grow and not progress. No, you have other folks coming here to compete against your dumb ass. It's like we just don't fucking want to get the fucking picture, dude. Just don't want to get the picture until it's too late. And I bet you, man, just wait. Once these white feminists in the Democrat Party really start to show these delusional black chicks that they don't really need them no more, watch. They're going to kick these black feminists to the side, and mark my word, you're going to see these black chicks all of a sudden run back to you as a black man talking about, hey, my brother, we got to back. We got to increase our population. We got to, bitch, no, you already you showed white society that you're willing to compromise. You've done the biggest compromise in American history since 1970. So you deserve everything you get, you bitch.